pitch starts now.
Hello everyone, we are Team Gin, named after a bottle that was found in our room.
Empty?
And so we are a mixture of people from different companies, different backgrounds, and here's our attempt at a personal cancer manager called cama. And you might wonder what that camel over there means, and we just leave that to your interpretation, what that could mean in the context of cancer and the app we're trying to present to you. So what we've heard from Susanna is that there are just needs that cancer patients have, being guided through their disease, through the disease journey, but that most apps that exist currently just don't hack it, they don't fulfill these needs. And that's where we set out from, trying to address these needs. So one very central aspect is the app or the solution has to be very simple to use. And that's one of the central goals we aim for. Having a simple to use app that's tailored towards different phases of your disease, your journey, and just give an all-inclusive one-stop shop solution for everything. Also, it's important that all data is in one place, that the data is secure, and that you can easily give other people access to that data if you need it or if they need it. And lastly, this app should just help you to organize your daily life as a patient and make your life easier and really add value to your life. So this is where we say, meet cama, your personal cancer assistant or your personal cancer manager, an app-based system that we're going to demo now for you.
Yes, so the app starts with an easy onboarding and sign-up process, although actually it allows you to work just locally. Let's just actually move and show you the app. So you can use the app, you can sign up and share data, but you can actually only use it also only locally, store everything local and not share with anyone. If you decide that you want to have an account and have your data accessible from different devices and share with people, you have to create the usual sign-up process, right? You have to put in your email, you have to verify your email, put in a code, agree to the terms of service, and then give some background information about your disease. So your cancer type, and we wanted to keep this really short and have you fill in later information whenever you find that it helps you with managing your disease. So you decide which disease, where you are in your cancer journey. If you just got the diagnosis, you might be more interested in information, or if you want to manage your treatment or your follow-up. Once you did all of that, there is an onboarding that guides you through how to use the app in general. And you can actually skip that as well, which is what we're going to do here now. And with that, you come to the home screen. And I guess if you click to the next one. Too many people. Well, no, actually, let's just keep it there. So on the home screen, you can see different modules that help you organize the different tasks you might have. And that home screen is pre-configured based on the information you gave before. So maybe you're interested in different modules depending on where you are in your disease journey. Medication, for example, might be different, of different importance at different times. You have your user settings, and you can always get back to this home screen using the view on the left. You have these modules. You can actually extend those using something like a module store that we will talk about a little later. And you have always a chat icon where you have someone to ask questions on how to use the app or request features. And I think what we heard from Susanna, which was really important, was that one of the first things you get asked at every doctor's visit is how you're doing and how you've been doing over the past weeks. But I guess for everyone, even if you're healthy, it's really hard to remember how you felt a week ago. So we have this view that gives you a really quick access from the beginning that lets you judge the quality of your life, having different features, and that you can basically update once a day, but you can also change it. If you fill it out in the morning and it evolves during the day, it will always say your latest thing. Then going back to the screen and going back one slide, further one slide. Then the next idea was actually you have all these different modules that allow you to manage all these different parts. And actually in this case, you would feel like there are actually apps for that. There is My Therapy, there is Medics, there are apps that help you track these different modules. But what this tool would give you in addition to those apps is it actually lets you bring together all the information you have in like one single dashboard that helps you assess how your health status changes based on the treatment you received or activities. Did you go out today? What does your lab value say? So bring this all together. We don't have a view for that, so we'll actually go to the next one.
Yeah,
you can see it in the live demos though, like maybe in the extended Q&A. So I'll show you in a minute. I would just like to walk you through the other features as well. All right. So as I mentioned, one thing that we wanted this app to be is extensible. So people, first of all, us to provide modules, but also a community to provide modules. And this can be done in the app if you click on the Add Module button. And that allows you then to basically deactivate and activate different functions. And Thomas will tell you a bit more about the details, where those come from and how this is implemented. But basically it gives you information, and you can at any time decide which ones you want to have activated on your home screen, and which ones you want to have.
So now we activated sleep monitor and click save, and so we
Exactly.
just sleep monitor.
And then you see this is added, and the plus button would move forward. Cool. Next one. Actually, so maybe some other things. It allows you like in-app notifications, but also if you activate it, you get notifications outside, so your home screen shows you, did you take a medication today? And you can say yes, no, snooze, and this will be recorded. One more time.
Just a document. So that's not right.
Yeah, so the next one is, so there are these tiles, so the next one would be documents. I think we have this here. We have?
Okay.
So yeah, so the next one is showing you one of the modules that allows you to basically digitalize all your like all the documents that you receive. I guess if anyone who worked at a disease or has someone with family with a disease, you know you get a lot of doctors' letters, lab values, all of that. You want this in one place, and usually just have something like Dropbox for this. And the app allows you to bring everything in here. You can either do this. So you do this by adding documents as you need them and as you want. So basically it doesn't force you to bring things in, but you can if you find it useful. You can do that by either uploading from an email or from your G Drive or Dropbox, or directly scanning the document
So we take
using
a
your
picture.
phone camera. Exactly. So if you take a picture of the document, it does some OCR and extracts already the information that it was a blood test result in this case. You can store where you keep it physically, so you or your relatives can find it as well at home. It gives you some other information. You can do a sanity check and then save it in your drive.
You need to select where it goes.
Oh, yeah. Sorry.
All right. Save.
Okay. Choose the order.
Choose this one, save in blood results, and then go back to your home screen. And with that, I'll hand over to Thomas for some more technical details in the last 1.5 minutes.
Okay, so one key aspect that we consider really important in this hackathon is thinking about the platform that forms the basis of all of this. So we're going to show you some technical details of the platform that we imagine. So the first central aspect is data control, so the user always knows where the data are. So the data is on the phone by default, encrypted, and it does go nowhere else unless the user explicitly says so. So if you want to use extended features like backups or sharing data, then you need to enable cloud access, but still your data is always in your hands, it's encrypted, so no one else can get at it without your permission.
And saved on a German server, so it doesn't get sent up.
And one central aspect of the data storage is we really want to make this compliant with HL7 and FHIR, so this is interoperable with other applications and can be part of a larger app ecosystem. And so you can share with doctors, with your family and friends, but you always select what item of data these people can see. We want to enable rich input of data through all possible sources like documents, scans, user interactions, and we always store the raw data like medical letters, but we also store the structured annotation on top of it in HL7 format. And so we envisioned there's two parts to this ecosystem. The first is the actual phone app, which is your companion through daily life. But then there is also a web application that gives you a more detailed view of the data, for instance, for making reports or analyzing your tracking results for doctors. And so in terms of the architecture that we envisioned, is the app is done using React Native, extensively using other components. There is a base app or core feature, core module that has all the base features. Then there's okay.
Time's up. Last slide. Thank you very much. First question, what was on the last slide?
Thank you very much for it. So that's about the outlook and next steps. And I think, one part that already came out during the last slides was I think that we really need to think about the architecture of the entire ecosystem, because that's where it stands or falls in making this a big community and having people contribute, which also refers to the last point. In building that developer community, it has to be easy and accessible for people, yet it has to be safe and secure, and you have to kind of integrate all these different goals in one big framework.
To stress this point a little, we tried in this hackathon to basically include everything what we can find. So we first have like this core apps, our React Native core apps, and these are like built by us. But then you can also like include other web apps which are basically already out there, like My Therapy or whatever, just as a module or basically like link. And also other like normal progressive web apps. You can like basically put everything into this React thing.
Awesome. I think we should give them more time to ask questions before we speak too much.
How do you make sure if you offer the option that some apps, just like My Therapy or so, can be included in the app? How do you make sure that my data still is just in the app and it's not used by the terms of condition and used from the other app?
We have a view for that.
Yeah, so basically, we wouldn't just include exactly the app, but the idea would be that they would join the developer community, build a module for this that is then sandboxed. If you go to the sandbox. So the idea is that it's a sandbox for every outside developed app, unless you really allow data transfer. So they can only work with the data that is available through the REST API, and they are not allowed to drain any data from the central place. So they have to adhere to our terms of usage, basically. So basically then your terms of usage.
So I have a question. You showed in the demo you added this sleep tracker or something module. So this is an external module, so it's supplied from if some sleep tracker producer will interact with your app, you will supply the module, or is it something you have to implement?
I think that's part of the challenge of actually building that ecosystem is walking the line between, do we want to create all these components on our own as a core community or as an extended community where there's also commercial developers, but kind of have it all within that one system, or how far do you want to go out and interfacing with other systems. And I think as you go that step, it's really crucial to make sure nothing sketchy happens. So if there's great apps and they have the APIs, or they're willing to integrate these APIs to interface, I think then there is nothing speaking against that, if it still keeps the user interaction easy enough and you don't start fragmenting everything again.
What we basically envision is that we can see, okay, other apps are like in this new added modules, and then we can see how are the users interacting with it, which do they really like. We also get this from feedback, and if we see, okay, this module is like really, really interesting, then this would be another core module of us. At the moment we have 3 core modules, but we can like extend our portfolio of core modules.
And the idea was that actually, I guess the most important features would all be available implemented as core modules. and then that it grows, right? So
Yeah.
sleep tracking came up in the interviews, so maybe that would be one, like medication, like the timeline. Maybe others that we didn't think of would be more from a community provider perspective, and then later becomes.
So the thing that came up during these discussions is actually this is a community discussion that we can't solve as a team. But I think that the entire community has to solve.
So you want to sort out the
Yeah, we basically want to put the framework so that everyone can build for us.
So the key requirements you would implement yourself, and then we'll see if there are some.
And in the prototype we built, I mean, we just showed you the demo. There is a prototype that you could look at on your phone as well, and that you can interact with. You're basically two ways of integrating. Like you integrate like an existing web app, or you build, because it's React Native, just the React Native component that you provide to the GitHub repository, similar to the team before, and you can do a pull request. And if it adheres to the quality standards, it can become a trial.
How do you review that there's not the same option many times? Like if you have like medication plans, I mean, if you look at the app stores right now, I think you will find like 800 different medication plans. But will they all be able to implement their solution in your solution, and the patient will have to go through everything again? Or will you do like a quality control process driven by the community or something like that?
I would say the quality control process is that the ones which are like our core modules are like the ones we really trust. So these are like really, really good modules. And then if you go into this module store, you basically have it like in Google Play Store to take the one which has like the highest rating.
I think the goal has to be kind of with the Apple philosophy, create the one tool that does it right instead of creating 10 tools that do it kind of right.
Yeah, but how is the process of doing that? I mean,
I think
We are basically the skeleton for other apps.
Well, and I think there should also be a part of the community for things that haven't been implemented as core modules, where there's actually rather strict quality control and review on the apps in terms of their interface, the functionality, and also that there's nothing sketchy happening.
Although I have to say, I mean, there are different medication apps because obviously none really serve everyone's purpose. Just want to finish that. So I think it's like some duplication might be okay just because different users have different requirements. But it's up to like keeping that in it.
Just to be sure, the main what you were showing, is it a click dummy or is it fully built?
So what we've showed so far was a click dummy.
Yeah.
But Johannes is
but
now
the
going to
home
show
This
the
for the eyes. So now, and this is. Oh no! Oh no! Sorry. Give me 2 minutes.
So what we did is we also flashed out a prototype for one of these core modules that we want to have in the app, which brings in a solution to something that Susanna was really enthusiastic, at least that's the way we understood her during our conversations, is to be able to relate the tracking of your well-being, your symptoms, like gut problems or your physical well-being, with the treatments and interventions that you get. So for instance, you get a certain drug or you take a pill, and you're able to relate that also for your doctor together with how you feel and how that makes you feel as a patient.
And Johannes is maybe going to
Ready?
show us as a living.
So this is the React Native app. We have implemented 3 examples. First example is timeline. So this is done by a React Native component. That's right.
Yeah.
This is our native component. Then the next example.
Can you explain to me, please, what that was mean? The green dots, the green squares, and the orange one?
Sebastian?
Here, it's basically how many side effects you had that day, or like some are just visits, some are just you visited your doctor, or some are you got an infusion. So basically, we wanted to report basically everything in one calendar. There needs to be, of course, a filter view which we didn't put in
But
yet.
is there a key notes
Different-
that's
different-
defined
Different
for
color
each one of them?
Yeah.
Different colors mean
Different
different
colors
things.
mean
yeah.
Mean different
Maybe
things.
not across now in detail this
Yeah.
discussion if you
Yeah,
ask
we'll-
for because they have like
Yeah.
20 seconds
Yeah.
to present the rest.
Quickly, the next two examples here. An example of using e-charts. It's highly sophisticated to make high-fidelity charts, and this is easy implementable into the source code of React Native. And the third example, Igemeda, it's a homepage from a company here in Erlangen. It's basically a web viewer container, just to show you that it's easy to implement web apps.
Okay, thank you very much, guys.